Hey, this is a mini ep of the podcast, While I've Got Ya, where I talk to our dad of the week about a completely unrelated topic that I was keen to ask them about. Big thanks to Fruit for the sponsor. Check out that app in our link. But back to this week's dad for this week's While I Got Ya.
What do you do at the family dinner table?
Now, or what did we used to do?
What did you do at the family dinner table?
Actually, that's a really good question and a really good point, because to us, we've grown up with this role model. So role modelling is really important. I'm glad you asked this bonus question. There's these old paper-based desk calendars in the old days I used to have at work, right? And there's a little proverb on them, wherever they came from. There was one, I don't know what its provenance was, but it said something like, don't worry that your kids don't listen to you, worry that they're always watching. And so, it's like whatever you do rubs off on the kids, and especially, the walk rather than the talk. So we grew up in Christian homes where the tradition was family dinner time, kind of a sacrosanct time, like every night without exception, family dinner time, 6 p.m, whatever it was. And that's like a lifestyle choice, right? Like you have to choose to do that, especially nowadays when there's so many other things, long commutes, all that kind of stuff. And so it's about priority setting. This is an important time. This is the time and to share over food is a great human bonding experience anyway, right? It's fundamental to our humanity and social interaction. So family dinner time, all kinds of just table manners, politeness, consideration, whatever else, particularly if they've helped cook the meal. All those things come into it. And there's conversation, and the conversation can be modelled to be really helpful and whatever. And then a family devotion over the Bible afterwards is how we were raised, and we've had the privilege, I guess, of being committed to doing that throughout our married life with our kids. So the kids sitting around the table and coming back to they're always watching. I remember when the kids were quite young, it was just a really profound moment that struck me. They were like 2 years old to 6 years old, right? And we were sitting around the dinner table and there was a quiet moment. And I just noticed that between sort of snippets of conversation, kids were eating away and we were all eating and talking a bit or whatever. I noticed that all of the kids, they would look around the table and look at each other, and they would look at Elizabeth and I most often. Every few seconds or whatever, they'd look up from their plates and look at us. And it was a profound experience. I thought, wow. The impact and the sense of responsibility that these kids are just sort of hanging off and it's very flattering as well. Right? It's like you realise how important parenting actually is as a calling, as a sacred trust. But that demonstrated that they're always watching, and and it just shows the positiveness, the opportunity of that interaction around a dinner table. And it surprised us to learn as we grew up that there are a lot of families that just don't have that tradition. It's not necessarily that they should be blamed for that, but it's a privilege they haven't had modelled to them. But I would say, that is such an important thing. It's worth having a go if people aren't doing it. Yeah. It's a time of great privilege to do that stuff. Yeah. So does that answer that question? I think
that does.
Yeah.
No, that answers it wonderfully. Thank you.